Big news in the bond market. Alphabet, the parent company of Google, just issued a massive multi-billion-dollar bond deal, and it includes something extremely rare, a 100-year bond. Yes, investors are lending Google money and betting on them until the year of 2126. Today's video, we're going to jump in and explain what exactly that means, why it's happening, and are investors interested in this bond. So let's get started. What we saw recently yesterday is that Alphabet announced a 100-year issuance, and it is historically notable because this is the first time in nearly 3 decades that we've seen a major U.S. company, especially a tech company, tap into the corporate market with a century-long maturity. We did see a phase in the 1990s where big U.S. corporate names such as Walt Disney, Coca-Cola, and IBM issued 100-year bonds, but it's been almost 3 decades since we saw one. And the last one we saw was in 1997, and the tech world was in 97 with Motorola. But what's even more interesting about Google's bond issuance is that it isn't just one bond. There's actually 2 bonds that they've issued. There's one in the US and one in the UK market. So let's talk a little bit about the details between both. So in the US, they sold a US dollar denominated bond with maturities ranging out decades, but not 100 years. In the UK, they issued a sterling dominated bond, and that's where the 100-year trench was sold. So US investors are buying long dated bonds, and UK institutional investors are buying century bonds. Together, it's one of the largest global bond offerings by a tech company in almost 30 years. So why are they doing this? Why is Google offering it? It's because of the AI, the CapEx and the AI infrastructure spending they have. As we know, based on their earnings, Google has committed out $185 billion in CapEx and spending. So they are aggressively spending on data centers, chips, cloud infrastructure, and the AI arms race is not cheap. So rather draining the balance sheet of their own cash, they're tapping into the debt market to fund long-term growth. This spreads out the cost for them over decades, or in the UK's case, it spreads out the cost over a century. By issuing bonds now, Google locks in borrowing costs for decades. If you believe the AI infrastructure will generate returns for the next 20, 30, and even 50 years, financing it with long duration debt actually makes strategic sense. The 100-year bond is an extreme version of that thinking. So the question I had when I initially saw this story is, are people interested in this? Are investors interested in buying this type of bond? And the short answer is yes. They're aggressively interested in it. The 100-year UK bond was reportedly multiple times oversubscribed, meaning demand has far exceeded supply. That's a huge vote of confidence for Google. Institutional investors are essentially saying, we believe Google will be financially solid decades from now. Even long-dated U.S. bonds show strong demand, showing that investors are comfortable lending to big tech at scale. This move tells us a few things about Google and about the AI demand in general. Number one, investors see Alphabet or Google as a durable infrastructure. They're not just a tech company, but a long-term platform. They also see AI spending as structural and not cyclical. So you don't issue a 100-year debt for a short-term trend. Finally, credit markets are open to big tech. If investors are willing to lend you money for a century, that is ultimate and peak confidence in your company and the demand that we see in the market. So this just wasn't a bond deal. This was a statement for all of AI demand, and it was a statement for Google. Google is betting that AI investments will shape the next generation, and that investors are betting that Google will be standing 100 years from now. It's a powerful sign for the markets. So what do you guys think? Were you as shocked as this news as a 100-year bond and the other bond issuance by Google? Or do you think it's a smart play for them to free up cash and not drain all their cash sheets and continue to invest heavily in the build out for AI? So let me know your thoughts. Quick video. I'll post another one later today with some of the news we saw with Micron, but I hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon, guys.